Guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about going from medical billing to medical coding. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue. I'm a medical coder. Okay, guys. So for some medical coders, they begin their journey as a medical biller. I have always recommended that if you can't get into medical coding right away, start off in a medical billing position because medical billers are not required to be certified, unfortunately. At least in medical coding, I think that they should be, but it's not a requirement according to the industry. But they're not required to be certified in billing or medical coding. And oftentimes they only need a high school diploma or a GED. And two, it doesn't really require experience because a lot of people are willing to train on the job because medical billing is a very standard practice. There are steps that they go through, and these are generally like the same thing. So it is a very repetitive job, but they have exposure to a lot of different things, okay? So I did get a comment from a viewer, and I'm going to read the comment, and then we're going to get into it. So here we go. All right, so the viewer says, "Hi, Blue. Thanks for this video. I passed the CPC exam in December 2020. That time, I was still working as a medical biller, and the following year, I got hired as an AR follow-up, but still looking for a medical coding position. What is your opinion or suggestions for my situation? Thanks in advance." So the thing is, when you're trying to go from medical billing to a medical coder position, you have to look at your resume first. What are you putting out there? Because having experience in medical billing is great. It is a great place for new medical coders to start because you're not getting that overwhelming feeling of like, I've got to code this and I've got to figure this out. In medical billing, it's already coded. And all you're doing is sending in the bills for payment, and that's it. Or you're calling up the patients and getting the payment from the patients, like for their copay or whatever they owe on their balances. And so those skills are going to go onto your resume. Dealing with insurance companies is going to go onto your resume. You being a medical biller means that you know about what these insurance companies are all about and what they're looking for when they're looking through their documentation, right? Through the doctor's documentation, or the provider rather. So that's something that you have to make sure this is on your resume. So your resume is going to be your calling card. This is going to be what is going to get these people to call you back. And if your resume still looks like you want to be a medical biller, if you're applying for a medical coding position, you're not going to get a call because your resume needs to show all of the skills that you can bring over to being a good medical coder because they're already going to know you have billing experience. But what do you know about coding? So in your role as a medical biller, if you are just a biller and say, for instance, because some places are like this, where they don't have medical coders, but they only have billers. So the biller has to receive the denials if there's denials, and then they send it on to like the office manager or whoever corrects it. Sometimes it's the biller who corrects it. And if that's the case, then you're doing the medical coding and the billing. So you have to make sure that distinction is there as well on your resume. But your resume cannot be more than 2 pages. Ideally, it's on 1 page, but no more than 2 pages. It can't go back more than 10 or 15 years, okay? It doesn't matter if you worked in the 90s or if you worked in the 80s. That experience is long gone. It needs to show the last 10 to 15 years because when they're running a background check on medical coders, it's only going to go back 10 to 15 years. And you will get a background check because they need to make sure that, you don't have anything that's going to stop you from getting this job, right, as a medical coder. And so most of the time, just so you guys know, what they're looking for in a background check is like any kind of sort of offenses that are violent and that kind of thing. Any identity theft and that kind of thing. Those things they look out for. And so if you have that, that's a no-go on getting into medical coding. But with your resume, it needs to show on your skills, what do you know? ICD-10-CM, CPT, HCPCS, ICD-10 PCS, if you know that. Medical terminology, anatomy, and pathophysiology. Those all need to be on there. On your skills, it does not need to say customer service, pleasant, friendly, smiling face. If I see that on a resume, that's an immediate rejection for me. You know why? Because you're not giving me your hard skills. And when I look at a resume, I have about 10 to 15 seconds to look at this resume. If it does not grab my attention, if you are wasting my time, basically saying, oh, I have all of these other soft skills, organized, team player, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. I don't want that. I want somebody who's going to tell me, what do you know? Because you can never assume that the employer knows what you know. Oh, they will know that I know ICD-10-CM, and please make sure that you put ICD-10-CM. If you are one of those folks that puts ICD-10, again, if I'm a hiring manager, I'm immediately rejecting that one too, because you're not detailed enough. Oh yes, all of these details matter when you are presenting your resume. So that's just, I'm giving you guys my advice, and this is for free. All you have to do is watch the video and that's it. But if you take this advice, guys, I'm telling you, it's going to turn things around. So look at your skills and what you're doing. If you're doing denials for medical billing, then you need to have that on your skills. Denials management, right? That you managed the denials when they came in, and you looked at, what was going in and, what was coming in and what was going out. Okay, you need to put on there like your mathematical skills, because yes, while it's very basic formula math, if you look at the job listings for medical coders, they will ask the coder to have basic math skills. Don't panic if you say, well, Blue, I don't know about math and I don't. Guys, it's very simple: plus, minus, multiplication, division, math. That's it. And even if you have any of those, okay? So it's not common all the time, but it is needed. So just make sure that if you have mathematical skills, that you put on there, basic mathematics is one of your skills, okay? If you're a bilingual, that's another thing. And people will ask me, well, Blue, why do I need to put on there if I'm bilingual or not? Well, if you are competing against somebody else who's coming in with no experience, and here you are with billing experience and you're bilingual, and they happen to need somebody who is bilingual by chance, because maybe the population that they are serving, they speak Spanish or they speak Japanese or whatever the case may be, make sure that you put it on your resume, that you are bilingual if you are bilingual, okay? Is it written and spoken? Written and verbal, whatever you want to put on there. But just make sure that if you are bilingual, you put that down. Guys, give yourselves every bit of edge that you can in order to get yourself in, okay? But when you're transitioning from medical billing to medical coding, you need to make sure that you talk about, that you understand the coding conventions, that you understand those things. What materials do you use to do your research? Are you using Coding Clinic? Are you using the ICD-10-CM manual, the CPT manual, the HCPCS Level 2 manual? What are you using, okay? And those are the things that you can add onto your resume when you're talking about your position as a medical biller. And what did you do? Did you collect money? Did you balance the chart, with the funds that's coming in, right? Posting the payments, that's what I was trying to think of. Posting the payments. What electronic medical record did you use? Did you use any? Some use certain softwares for the billing side, but then some people say, well, I have experience with Epic. Great, put that on your resume. Oh, I have experience with eClinicalWorks. Fantastic, put that on your resume. That should be there, okay? And being that you're in billing, you need to, again, make it look like you want to be a medical coder if that is ultimately your goal, to go from billing to the coding, okay? And the thing that you should talk about, like even on your cover letter, and yes, I do recommend a cover letter. If you're looking to have your resume rewritten, I do resume rewrites. My rate is in the description box below. In the description box below. My contact information is there too. Cover letters are very important, because that's the time where you can talk about being organized, being a team player, and all of those soft skills, okay, that you can't really put onto your resume, because your resume is prime real estate, okay? This is going to get to the point and right to the conciseness that you need throughout, okay, guys? You have to make sure that you're not repeating yourself on your resume either. But on that cover letter, that's when you can talk about how you are bringing that knowledge of the insurance company and those billing practices, and you can bring it to them in a coder role that is going to be amplified because you understand what the insurance company is looking at and what they're looking for and that kind of thing. So that's a great position to be in because it's going to give you that edge. It's going to totally give you that edge to get in, but you have to apply. And even if they're asking for 3 to 5 years of experience in coding, you as a veteran biller are still going to apply anyway, because employers are only going to see who is applying to their job. If they are saying they want 3 to 5 years of experience, is because they don't want to have to train you. But being that you've been a biller, you understand the fundamentals of coding, and make sure that you're still practicing on the coding. The workbooks that I recommend are in the description box below. So when you are doing all of these things, that way they know, okay, this person, really wants to shift on over to the coding, we can do that. But you have to apply. The people that are getting the callbacks or getting looked at are the people that are actually applying. And if you're in an area where there are happy coders, these happy coders are going to stay where they are. And if they have a person who's brand new and a person who is never been a coder, but they've been a biller, and you have these two candidates, they're going to look at the person who's done the billing first, probably because this person, okay, they have a little bit more exposure to the codes. They know about the electronic medical record. What else do they know? And then if you say, well, I did the billing for an orthopedic practice, or I did the billing for a cardio practice, and then you apply for one of those types of positions, like if you've done the billing for ortho, and then you say, okay, I want to be an ortho coder, so you apply for the ER, or you're applying for like urgent care, or, an orthopedic clinic itself, then you can say, I have had experience being an orthopedic biller for orthopedic clinic, and all the things that I've learned about the billing practices for government insurance, private insurance, and self-pay. These are all the things that I know. This is what I can bring to you, okay? It's just a matter of getting your foot in the door. But again, you have to continue to practice because you don't want to get rusty when they are interviewing you for a medical coder position. Even though you've been doing the billing, it doesn't mean that you can't learn and practice the medical coding side. And that's what a lot of people will do, is they'll stop studying. And then I've had messages before where people said, well, Blue, I just need a crash course in coding again because I haven't, I took my test a year ago and I haven't been studying. No, sir, no, ma'am. I don't do crash courses. Never have, and I never will. Because to me, if you didn't take any of that time in that year that you were out there applying and you didn't take that time to continue to study, that's on you. That's not on me. And I'm certainly not going to spend time with you because you didn't think it was important then. Okay? I don't do crash courses, guys, so don't even ask me. Okay? I'm all about learning the slow way. The slow way is the fast way. When you take the time to learn about the fundamentals of coding, and you learn your medical terminology, you understand anatomy and pathophysiology, when you understand all of those things, it's going to make applying for these jobs and getting a call back and getting a serious interview much easier than the person who is not even trying. They got a certification and now they don't know what to do with it because, they're getting so many rejections. Rejections happen, guys, but they happen for many reasons. They happen because the resume does not look good. They happen because a person can't pass the proficiency test that the employers will give. I had somebody comment the other night about, that they had 3 different tests and they were all brutal. Well, they are meant to be strenuous tests because they want to see what this coder is made out of. They want to see and test your knowledge. And sometimes they're not even looking for excellence. I mean, of course they would want excellence, but if you're not quite there getting everything right, if you show the potential, there may be a chance for you to get in. Okay, so it's not a reason to give up, and it's not a reason that you shouldn't try to apply yourself with the studying part. But that's just something that I would recommend for all of you guys, is to keep studying, because the more that you study, the better off that you're going to be. I say this all the time. If you're going to study for your exam and people are saying, well, how can I, pass this test. You put in the time, 20 hours per week, and it doesn't matter if you have a full-time job. I have those 20-hour study templates out. I have them all over my Instagram channel, Medical Coding with Blue. I have them in the community tab on my YouTube channel, Medical Coding with Blue. And I have them all listed. They are 5 days, 6 days, 4 days that you're studying. And so it's not 7 days. There's not one of them that is 7 days, because I don't believe in that. I believe that even students should rest. They should take a break. And that's what you have to do. Okay, so but that would be what I would recommend if you are really truly serious about getting out there and transitioning from a biller to a coder. Use your contacts, use your connections that you have. If you are, an AAPC member and you're going to a local chapter meeting, you can let them know too. People have found jobs at those coder meetings, the in-person coder meetings. And so that's just something that I would recommend that you look at too. But again, don't let the 3 to 5 years thing scare you off from the job listing. If you have your credential and you have experience, even with the billing, apply for it anyway. The worst thing is that they won't call you. And you're already not getting called, right? If you're out there and you're applying, you're already not getting called if you are not applying. But if you are applying, again, you're just putting out your resume to everybody who's out there looking. And you can say, well, yes, here I am. And it is a kick in the teeth with the amount of rejection that new medical coders get. It is. It's unfortunate that it is this way. But I will always say it is because there are so many fast-paced medical coding schools that are pumping people out of these schools that are ill-prepared for the real world. And then people don't take the time to study on their own. Sometimes because they don't know. And sometimes because they just don't want to. Okay? And again, for those that didn't know, well, hopefully now you found my channel and now you get it. Now you get why they're not calling you. Now you get what you have to do, which is study so you can prepare for those tests. And those tests that they're giving you from the employer, they're going to vary from employer to employer. So unfortunately, I don't have a straight answer for what is going to be on these tests. However, I will say that on average, what is on these tests sometimes is, or what I have seen, medical terminology, anatomy, pathophysiology questions, and coding questions, coding scenarios. And you can look at those workbooks that I recommend, and those are just as good to prepare you for those types of interviews, okay? You can use your own books. If you still have the 2020 set or the 2021 set, that's totally fine. You can use those to practice with, okay? You can also look at the Optum 360 Coding website where they always have sales and look on there and get your books cheap. So that's just what I would say, because Optum is always having sales and they have free shipping. So Optum books, in my opinion, are superior to any other publisher of books when it comes to ICD-10 CM and HCPCS and ICD-10 PCS. So those are the books I will always recommend when it comes to medical coding manuals. The AMA CPT Professional Edition, of course, I recommend that whether you are sitting for an exam or not, or if you're just studying. The CPT Professional Edition is a very awesome book. It's got a lot of information in it as well. The Optum books come with, at the beginning of the chapters, every chapter in the ICD-10 CM book, it has examples of the diagnoses and how they apply, and it gives you the rationale. So that is very helpful for new coders and veteran coders. So that's why I say those books are very worthwhile. And of course, my favorite feature of the ICD-10 PCS manual is that it has the Appendix M, like in Mary, and it has all of those procedures to look up for the PCS coding. And that is the best way to practice. Getting through all of those, because it's hundreds, there's a few hundred procedures to look up. And Appendix N, like in Nancy, has the answers and the rationale to some of them. But looking those up and taking the time to practice that, again, is going to keep you sharp and is going to keep you ready for when you are asked these questions if you're applying for an inpatient coding position, right? So again, it's not a reason to lose your skill or to get rusty. If you've stopped studying, you need to get back on studying. If you're working in billing, make sure that your resume looks like you want to be a medical coder. Make sure that everything on there is transferable, all of those skills, like reviewing the claims when they come in for denials, or reviewing the claims before they leave out to make sure that the proper diagnosis and the proper procedure are together, okay? Because sometimes there are certain procedures or diagnoses that are gender specific or they are age specific, and you understanding that is going to go a long way as a medical biller. And then before you send this claim out, before it gets denied, you can look at it and question like, hey, wait a second, this may be wrong here. Can we look at this again before we send it out? And so sometimes that's all it needs. It's a second set of eyes. And that's what you do as a medical biller. It's a great thing. It's a great position to be in. I'm just saying. So, but yes, that is my advice for today. I hope this helps you. So if this video helped you, I hope that you will like, subscribe, and share, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.